$16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-880-6363. That's 1-800-880-6363. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-880-6363. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Damian Perez back at the City Play Studios helping us out today on a beautiful Friday the 13th of December. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. We're live on remote from the Palm Beach Zoo, which has the zoo lights coming on tonight. First show is coming up at 5:40 p.m., last show at 8:40 p.m. So we have a whole lot to do, whole lot of fun to be had in a very festive environment around us over here at the zoo. Appreciate them for having us out and giving us a bit of a rundown in terms of all the great things that they do in terms of animals and how they take care of animals and sort of their protocols. And of course, it's a very, very tropical environment. I'm very, very impressed with what the zoo has to offer over here in West Palm Beach. Good credit to them. Big credit to our pal John. We're going to speak with Mike Terrell, who is the curator of animal experiences, a little later in the show, get a feel for what this real zoo has to offer. But in the meantime, we got a packed Friday program ahead of us with Colin and Mike here. We got Kyle Tucker, of course, being moved from the Houston Astros to the Chicago Cubs. You have that whatever happened on Thursday Night Football last night between the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams winning that one 12-6, moving to 8-6, and the Niners, of course, falling to 6-8. For all purposes, on the outside looking in for the remainder of the regular season in terms of postseason hopes. Now there's a lot of questions about where the Niners sort of go from here. I guess the highlight of that game was Devondre Campbell, a now backup linebacker, a now cut linebacker, who started for most of the season, has been an All-Pro in the past, who I guess decided to leave the game in the third quarter when Dre Greenlaw, who was freshly activated from the IR after an Achilles tear in the Super Bowl, was in, hurt his knee, needed a sub in the third quarter. Devondre Campbell, who was, I guess, upset with the fact that Dre Greenlaw took that spot that was rightfully his, fast rewinding a gear. He was upset with that, stormed off the field. All the players took to the media post-game talking about basically how soft it was.
Right.
And out goes Devondre Campbell today. He is now officially cut from the San Francisco 49ers. I guess an ugly finish, an ugly off-field story to an already ugly season for what we've seen from the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, made no sense to me, if I'm being quite honest. A veteran like that, I mean, he had to know why the Niners signed him in the offseason. He had to know that he was there because Greenlaw was hurt. And in a win-or-go-home game, let's call it for what it is. That was a win-or-go-home game for the San Francisco 49ers. Now their playoff picture basically done. I guess if you want to talk about small percentages, there is a slight chance, but I'm going to call that dead. And it was very shocking that was the storyline after that game. I told you in our pre-show meeting, that was one of the most boring football games I watched all year. And I was trying to find an excuse not to watch it. I was trying to find an excuse to turn it off last night. But there was really no other sports on. There was really nothing else on for me last night. So I gutted through it. It was a tough one to watch. And once again, I thought we were on a track. I thought we were on a roll with those Thursday night games for a little bit. But
they were due for one.
Yeah, and now we had a stinker last night. But, hey, kudos to the Rams, who found a way to win an ugly game. They covered for us, too, in our Punchline Bets, where we compete against, theoretically speaking, Christian Catt and Theo Dorsey picking games against the spread. So I was happy on that end, but what a boring game on a Thursday once
Well,
again.
I thought this was going to be one of those weeks from the Rams where they're a bit erratic. You don't know what type of Ram team you're going to get week in and week out after the Niners get that first field goal.
Right.
And that Ram offense for about the first 5-6 drives of the game, I believe it took them 4 drives to even get a first down. So
they won ugly.
A stagnant offense, to say the least. This is the problem with the NFC West, and more importantly, the Rams specifically, is I don't know if there's a more erratic division in football in terms of what type of team you get from each side week in and week out. The Cardinals, either firing on all cylinders, playing great football, confident football, running the ball at will, or with a pesky defense, or rolling over and dying before you even get to the first quarter break. On the other end, the Los Angeles Rams, where their defense 4 days ago was Swiss cheese and was brought up and down the field by Josh Allen and company at will. And the offense was firing on all cylinders, kept them in the game after such a hot start. On the flip side of things, that offense couldn't move the ball if they tried yesterday, and that defense was as stingy as it comes. So it's very strange that the Niners, the Rams, even the Cardinals, week in and week out. The Niners had a great game against Chicago over the week. I know that Chicago, but still, Brock Purdy was firing on all cylinders. That offense was moving smoothly. And this has been a division that has been characterized by their inability to stack weeks. Now, the Seahawks probably have done it more so than the rest, but that is a division that is going to be right place, right time, who's hot at the right time. That is going to determine between probably the Rams and the Seattle who is going to take that division, looks like Week 18.
I just can't believe the mess that the 49ers turned out to be. If we rewind the clocks to one of our first shows that we did here on Russo and Rizzo, I picked the Niners to win the whole doggone thing. They're not even going to make the playoffs. I picked the Niner and Chiefs Super Bowl. Obviously, we'll see about the Chiefs if they can keep their black magic winning alive. But as far as the Niners, I don't think there's a bigger disappointment in the NFL this year than the San Francisco 49ers. Maybe you could argue the Bears, but I want to remind everybody, what the hell did the Bears win before this year? They haven't been in the playoffs since 2018.
Yeah, major case of those Super Bowl blues, that Super Bowl hangover that kind of hit the Eagles, too, last year.
Right, and a lot of people say the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers, and they were supposed to waltz through that division with Stephon Diggs out of Buffalo. I tried warning you guys that the Bills were going to be a wagon, but I was flat out wrong about the 49ers, and in my opinion, I think they're the biggest kind of disappointment in the NFL that you're going to find in the 2024 season.
Yeah, and I guess everybody's looking towards the offseason and sort of where do we go from here? The Niners have a plethora of injuries based on the veterans on their team because they have an older roster. They have a more experienced roster. And a lot of the guys they rely on week in and week out are guys that are not readily available due to their age, due to their injury proneness, whatever you want to chalk it up as. So now the Niners have to make a couple decisions because there's a clear elephant in the room, and it lies with Brock Purdy and how you're going to handle his contract situation.
That and Ayuk didn't perform, and Debo's never healthy.
Well, they paid Ayuk, so they're stuck there.
That's what I mean, though. But, adding more layers to this, the receivers that you paid either A, aren't available, or B, not playing up to standards, and throw an all-pro tight end like George Kittle who can't stay healthy more years than not as well. So injuries, I think, I could scrape this year up to. You know, they were without Brock Purdy for a little bit, too. I know it's hard to not do things with your franchise quarterback. And the defense banged up beyond belief with Greenlaw being out, with a couple of their DBs being out. So I think if you talk to Shanahan, head coach, Lynch, GM, they're going to tell you that it was just one of those years where they were never healthy. They were in these games. They were floating towards 500, and they're going to retry it next year. But I agree with you. I think there are a couple of things you're going to have to fix with this team in the offseason.
It's a ticking time bomb. There's not a lot of time for this team to really just figure it out because Christian McCaffrey's not getting any younger. Debo Samuel's not getting any younger.
Got Miles on him,
George Kittle not getting any younger. Trent Williams is damn near 40 years old, and he's not getting any younger. That defense has a great Fred Warner and Nick Bosa and Charvarius Ward, but they're not getting any younger. This is a situation where the Niners are going to have to think a bit reflectively on where they want to allocate their resources. They've had the benefit of the doubt by getting a Brock Purdy towards the back half of that NFL draft at 199 overall, and they could utilize him cheaply. But now all of a sudden, Brock Purdy's going to demand a contract. Now the lengths of that contract remains to be seen. And I guess the real question is where do the Niners sort of view Purdy versus where does Purdy view himself in terms of that quarterback market? Can they get him for a relative bargain, or is he worth a substantial contract that will cripple the rest of the team? These are questions the Niners are going to have to answer. Maybe not this offseason, but the longer you wait, if he has a great season, the more expensive he's going to get. So they could, I guess, capitalize on a down year from Purdy, maybe try to get a bargain out of it, or they could roll the dice, see if Purdy kind of plays up to standard, and we know he's a bit of a mirror of the people around him. So when he has a great offense around him, everything's clicking, Purdy looks great. And when the rest of the offense is not clicking, then all of a sudden Purdy starts to struggle. So that is what his career has been to this point. Now what do you do if you're San Francisco? Do you pay him? Do you wait? How do you sort of handle this?
Well, the conversation is he's a system quarterback, and I want to remind everybody, I think everybody should want a system quarterback. You have a system quarterback when you have a good system. And say what we want about Shanahan and how, and I'm starting to agree with you, Colin. I don't know if he could win the big one or not, and I don't know if he's ever going to win the big one with how a couple of these years went. But the Niners have a great system, and if they think Brock Purdy is the guy for the system, then yes, Colin, they should take advantage of him having a down year and lock him down. Now, I think him and his agent are going to want to bet on himself. I don't think that they are going to want to negotiate after a quote-unquote down year, an injured year. I think they would like to strike when the iron's hot. But if you're the 49ers...
But then you're going to have to wait till a contract year. Then it's going to get risky.
If you're the 49ers, I think you try to lock him down this offseason to take advantage of a quote-unquote slow year for him and get a bargain out of it. You're already paying Bosa.
That's an if. That's an if.
It is.
Bargain.
It is. But you're already paying Bosa. You're already paying McCaffrey. You're already paying Ayuk. You're already paying Debo. You got a lot of mouths to feed. And I want to, and back to what I said earlier, what happened when these guys aren't performing or aren't on the field? Even Bosa was hurt this year. I mean, I love Bosa. He's a Buckeye, but he's been injured for a lot of this. So I think unluckiness, I know that's not a word, but lack of luck due to injury and needing to strike with Brock Purdy in the offseason to maybe get a team-friendly deal is what the Niners' problem is right now.
So you're pro, let's pay Purdy.
I'm pro, pay Purdy. If you're Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, you traded away Trey Lance, who looks like isn't a franchise quarterback, but you traded away Lance because you thought Purdy was the guy. Purdy had a good year. You went to a Super Bowl with him. This year, like I said, you chalk it up to injury. No one was healthy. Maybe you strike now. That's all I'm saying. Strike now. Try to get a team-friendly deal because I'm sure that Purdy and company want to get paid.
What if you won't?
If he won't?
What if he wants $55-60 million a year?
If he won't, then you ride it out. Then you ride it out, and you have faith in John Lynch, and you have faith in Kyle Shanahan that they could get another Mr. Irrelevant. Let's be honest here. They drafted him in with the last draft.
There's no guarantee they could do that twice.
I
wouldn't bank on that because it's the same team that drafted Trey Lance third overall, and that blew up.
Hang on here. I'm not saying that it's a full-on guarantee. But at the same time, you got to have faith in Lynch and Shanahan that they could find a guy who could be serviceable like Brock Purdy.
But why?
That's all I'm saying.
But why?
Because they have the track record of doing it.
I mean, they have the track record not of drafting. They're one of two.
Let me then. All right. How about this? They have a track record of finding a serviceable quarterback that could allow them to go deep in the playoffs. Now, I was a big Jimmy Garoppolo hater, but I'm going to give him some flowers here. They were able to go pretty deep with Garoppolo.
And they had a lead in the fourth quarter of a Super Bowl with him. So
that's nonetheless what I'm saying is if Purdy wants to play hardball, then you bank on something you've been able to do, and that's find somebody who is serviceable enough to win some football games and put yourself in position to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, the way I look at it is the Niners have had the luxury and the non-luxury of having a quarterback question mark mostly for the past 6 years, and whether they're going with the Brian Hoyers of the world or C.J. Beathard or Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance or
Brandon
Brock
Allen.
Purdy, they've had opportunities where they've kind of been able to figure it out regardless of who's out there. Now, Brock Purdy, I think, is the best of the bunch. But is Brock Purdy worth the $55-60 million price tag that is associated with the top-of-the-line quarterbacks who get re-signed nowadays? If they are lucky enough to re-sign him to a team-friendly deal a la Baker Mayfield, I think absolutely 100% agree, do it. You got to sign it, pen to paper, to tomorrow if opportunity prevails. And $32 million, $35 million a year is on the table. I think that is an absolute no-brainer. But to the same token, if he's going to demand that, market-setting contract that quarterbacks like to do nowadays, then all of a sudden you got to start to think reflectively that we're not going to be able to maintain this roster. We're going to have to rely a whole lot more on first contract players through the draft, and we're going to have to let a lot of these all-pro players walk. And that's not only due to age, but it's due to the fact that they can't financially keep up with what they are demanding. So it's going to be a very tricky situation with how they're going to handle Purdy, and I guess there's some actual questions into whether they should or not.
I think Purdy's going to be I think it's being unrealistic to ask for the money that these other quarterbacks have gotten.
Can
right?
we say that? Can we say that?
I mean,
it's
but
the top
it's
50% of quarterbacks.
Isn't it performance-based, Kyle? Right?
Sure, but performance-based, who's better than Brock Purdy in terms of performance? I'll show you the performance. How did I do in the Super Bowl? I played well in that game.
Recency bias, though.
Hold on. I went to a Super Bowl with you guys, and I played well in the fourth quarter. Why shouldn't his agent say that in John Lynch's office?
It's not hot. I hear you. All I'm saying is the iron isn't as hot as it was last year at the end of the Super Bowl.
Hold on. That doesn't matter then. The fact of the matter is you guys lost a terrible game against Philadelphia because I was not healthy. And on top of the fact, when I was healthy, we were in the game against a good Kansas City team, and I played well in the game. So if there's a bargaining chip that they had, that is it. What can Tua say? What can Trevor Lawrence say that competes with that? There was nothing they could say. They got Jordan Love, and they got contracts. So off of that, I understand your point. I agree. Mm-hmm. We're all on the same page that Brock Purdy probably isn't worth that market-setting contract. But if he has a pesky agent and he wants to get paid, he has every bargaining chip in the book to make the argument that he should be paid.
It's funny you say that because, Jordan Love, I feel like, would pass the eye test more than Purdy. And all these other guys, Tua with the flashy numbers and everything. But I think you're right. There's something to be said about going to a Super Bowl, going to overtime, and arguably being the team that should have won. I still go back to Shanahan and the coin toss. I think he screwed that whole thing up. That's a 2-hour show in itself. But point noted. And I feel like the Niners are going to try to take advantage of Purdy to try to figure things out to a team-friendly deal. And they're going to try to sell him on it too, Colin. They're going to try to sell him on, listen, if we sign you here, we're going to be able to do this, we're going to be able to do that, but if we have all this money allocated to you, this is what we're not going to be able to do. And fair play to Purdy if he wants to go out and get his money. I'm not telling Brock Purdy to not try to get the most money, but when it comes to the team, the Niners, I think, are going to sell him on this is what we need. This is what we need, in our opinions, to be successful and to go for another Super Bowl.
The way I look at it, Brandon Ayuk wanted a record-setting contract. So did Trent Williams. So did Nick Bosa. So there's 3 players right there that wanted record-setting. Fred Warner. That's 4 right there. Record-setting, market-setting contracts. Purdy can go into that office and say, why do they get the record-setting contracts, the market-setting contracts, and I don't?
Right.
So why do they get to reset the cap? And Niners are notoriously a team that has a lot of issues getting those guys on the field during training camp. Mm-hmm. And they've consistently had that for a number of years now in getting guys prepared, locked down on contracts, and usually it's the Niners that balk.
Yep.
So it's a very curious to me that all of a sudden Brock Purdy is going to be the diamond in the rough. I agree with you. He seems like the guy because he's got that chip on his shoulder type of player who was drafted as the Mr. Irrelevant, and he wasn't a big-time college player at Iowa State. Maybe he does view it that way, and he does understand that I need a good team around me for me to perform at my highest level and for us to have the best opportunity to win. But to the same token, you're only going to be in the NFL for so long. And if everybody else can get a record-setting contract, but I'm the one that's supposed to bite the bullet, what fairness is that to the guy that has been the guy that you guys need the most? So it's very curious to me how they're going to handle it. I don't know if there's a right answer to it, but we have Ethan Bagshaw, actually, somebody who I know, tuning in on the chat. He said Purdy made it to a Super Bowl because of the surrounding players who are now getting older. Numbers are losing Niners, I should say, are losing the window to win with a system QB. I give it one more Super Bowl possible year with Purdy. So I guess he's on the team of don't pay him. Yeah. And let him perform for a prove-it contract. But then you could get burned if he's great, if you have a run. Then all of a sudden, you got to open up the checkbook with the expanded cap and everything. He's going to need $65 million a year.
Right. Or maybe here's another thing. Maybe they let him walk and Shanahan gets a guy like Sam Darnold who might be available. Obviously,
I'd be surprised if he went back.
And we got to see what's going to happen this offseason with Darnold when McCarthy's healthy next year. But you get what I'm saying. I think back to what I said earlier, Shanahan and Lynch, I feel like, are confident that they could get the level of quarterback if Purdy doesn't sign. That's my 2 cents, and I think they are going to ride out the contract.
Yeah, but do they want to deal with that? Do they want to keep doing that?
I'm with
you.
It's inconsistency.
They swung and missed with Trey Lance, and Jimmy Garoppolo was a higher floor, lower ceiling quarterback. They had to deal with injuries.
And they traded for him from New England.
Yeah, he came with Shanahan. But do they want to continue to deal with this? Wouldn't they want? Isn't that the goal? It's sort of the gold star on the calendar. To lock down the quarterback.
I think those guys think they're the smartest people in the room, and the fact that they took Brock Purdy where they did and have him be as good as he is in their system, they're going to ride out that cheap as you know what contract and try to win a Super Bowl. And I really thought this was the year. As you know, I predicted the Niners to win it all. I thought it was the perfect storm, and you get unlucky with injuries, and the whole damn team was hurt this year. So understood.
888-760-3776, the number to get into the program. Russo and Rizzo live here from the Palm Beach Zoo. They got the Zoo Lights coming on tonight. First show at 5:40, last show at 8:40. Don't miss that. We're here live. We saw all the animals, had a great time here. But in the meantime, Niners, is this a moment where they should pay Purdy? Should they ride this out? Where do they go from here? Do they try to get younger? Do they ship out some of these veteran players? Where does the future sort of lie with how the San Francisco 49ers are going to handle the next year? Let us know. 888-760-3776. We continue onward. Russo and Rizzo live here on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Let's be honest. If your performance in the bedroom feels more like, uh-oh, than whoa, you're not alone. But don't worry, we've got just the thing for you. Hexus MD's new Performance Blend. No awkward doctor visits, no prescriptions or crazy side effects, just a powerful, easy-to-use pill that gets you back in the game. Hexus MD's new Performance Blend works in just 15 minutes, and it's stronger than the competition. Use discount code ESPN50 for 50% off your first order. Don't wait. Visit HEXISMD.com.
What's the Anajar and Levine difference? When you're injured in a car crash, we focus on your case so you can focus on the one thing that matters most, getting better. I'm Glenn Levine with Anajar and Levine. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach. The Construction Reduction Sales Event is going on right now at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. Greenway Kia is under construction, and we need to move the 24s off the lot so the new 2025s at the port can be delivered. So, we're making deals that other dealers won't. New 2024 Kia Fortes are only $149 per month. Make no payments until next year. Plus, we want your trade. Get up to $6,000 over Kelley Blue Book fair market value for any trade. If you have a job bringing home $350 per week, we want to approve your credit. It's the season of new traditions only at Greenway Kia of West Palm Beach. Call 800-NEW-KIAs or visit online at greenwaykiawestpalmbeach.com.
We want to see ya in a Greenway Kia.
Qualified applicants through KFA, 24-month lease, $34.99 due at signing, 10,000 miles per year, 0 security deposit required, plus tax, tag, and $9.99 admin fee. Negative equity refinanced. 90 days deferred payments. Interest accrues from date of purchase. Discount includes all factory rebates to dealer. Offers don't combine. Expires 12/30/24.
Holiday season at Duffy's Sports Grill means holiday features galore. Savor Duffy's limited time holiday menu with new crab stuffed mushrooms, seafood pasta, salmon Oscar, and mahi Oscar. Plus, famous holiday drinks like Jack Apple New Fashioned and a peppermint martini. Now, through New Year's Eve, score a $20 MVP bonus for every $100 in Duffy's gift cards you purchase. Duffy's, our game is always on.
Florida Atlantic women's basketball season is here. Join head coach Jennifer Sullivan and star guards Maya Perry and Jada Moore at Eleanor R. Baldwin Arena this year for big-time college basketball action. Groups of 15 or more get in free. Single game tickets just $10. The band, the cheerleaders, the fun, the action, it's all there with Florida Atlantic women's basketball. Visit FAUsports.com for more information. Florida Atlantic Owls, winning in paradise.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Niners lost a close one last night on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. Los Angeles Rams took it over them 12-6 final score. Rams moved to 8-6. Niners moved to 6-8, effectively out of the playoff picture for the most part, unless some, I guess, unforeseen turnaround and a whole lot of help in that division. As that division now boils down really to two, and that Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams probably shaping up for a Week 18 showdown to decide a playoff spot and division. It's Russo and Rizzo live here on ESPN 106.3. We're live at the Palm Beach Zoo where the zoo lights are. There's going to be tree shows, and the lights are all set up. It's going to be in the festive spirit coming up all weekend. Come get involved over at the Palm Beach Zoo. 888-760-3776. The number to get into the program. The San Francisco 49ers, where do they go from here? Do you pay somebody like Brock Purdy? Do you let go of some of these veterans? Where do you allocate your resources to look towards the future? 888-760-3776. Let us know. We move to Lake Worth. Kevin in Lake Worth joins Russo and Rizzo. Kevin, what's on your mind? What do you got for us?
Kev, how are you?
Hey, guys. So I've always had this thought process when it comes to quarterbacks, and that it's a lot of the lines of what Belichick would do with some of his best players. If he's not the guy, you got to trade him and get as much as you can for him. Trade him to a team that'll give you a first-round pick, maybe two, or a first with some extra picks. Because if you need all these different guys, if you need the best left tackle, if you need the best running back, if you need 3 wide receivers, if you need all this, then he's not really going to be the guy for you. I had this thought when Dak Prescott held out the first time, the second time. I had that with Tua with the Dolphins. Unfortunately, I think they're going to be stuck in this rut where we're probably going to be a middle-of-the-road team. It's a lot like with the NBA, where the NBA just throws out these max contracts to middle-of-the-road players. It's because, somebody's going to do it. Well, then let somebody do it, not you. Build your team. You already proven that you can find a quarterback in the 7th round, find a quarterback in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th.
But to the background of that, they've also tried a quarterback in that 1st round, and it blew up in their face with Trey Lance. I understand your point that I like what you said about let somebody else do it. We're the Niners. We're a better-run organization than probably mostly anybody else in the National Football League. Let them make that move, and we will build our team the way we do. But alternatively, so you're thinking Niners didn't make the playoffs this year. A lot can be chalked up to injuries. Now let's look to trade Brock Purdy. Is that the plan?
Yeah, well, I mean, to that point, I know you guys brought up Jimmy Garoppolo. They got to the same point with Jimmy Garoppolo, and they gave up, a 2nd-round pick to get Jimmy? I think the NFL is in a bad spot where they're throwing money at all these different quarterbacks when there's only really 5 or 6 that I can name off the top of my head to where that guy can make a team work regardless of who's around him. You got Mahomes, you got Allen. I think Burrow's going to have to prove it here shortly with some of their guys they're going to have to let go here soon. Outside of those guys, they're not worth $50, $55, $60 million. Like, you're just going to be stuck paying a guy to take you to the 1st round of the playoffs to get knocked out by a guy like Mahomes. It's just
But
I don't think
to Purdy's point, Purdy took Mahomes down to the wire.
Yeah, and Kev, and listen, I hear you, partner. I'm the one who's saying it, ride out the contract. But to Colin's point, like, isn't there something to be said about winning with your system and winning your way? Isn't Brock Purdy the perfect guy for the Niners and Kyle Shanahan?
He's the perfect guy right now when he's not making $55 million. That's why he's the perfect guy right now. But if you give him $55 million and you don't have the best players at almost every other position, is he really the perfect guy for you? The perfect guy.
This reminds me. Yeah, Kev, hear me out on this. Yeah, Kev, hear me out on this part. Doesn't this remind you a little bit of Goff? Now, obviously, different scenarios. The Lions weren't anything when they went out and got Goff, and the Niners, on the flip side of things, are coming off a Super Bowl. But a lot of people, including myself, and I still kind of do, but it's hard to argue with the numbers Goff is putting up. A lot of people didn't want to give Goff the contract. They gave Goff the contract, and look what's happened. I think a lot of it is buying into the quarterback. Do you think if Purdy got a contract, that would give him the confidence, like Goff, to play better? I'm interested to hear your take on that.
Well, the Lions are in a little bit of a different situation to where their best players are still on these small, Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, just got a big contract, but still wasn't as big as someone like Ayuk has a bigger one, right? The Sewell doesn't have the Trent Williams contract. Jack Campbell, a lot of their young core pieces are still on rookie contracts. So you can give a Jared Goff a 3-year contract at $55 million because the rest of the core still isn't ready for that contract yet. It's the total opposite with the 49ers, with everybody having a contract.
All right. Good call, Kevin. Appreciate you chiming in. 888-760-3776. Where should the Niners allocate their resources after effectively falling out of the playoff picture? Do they pay somebody like Brock Purdy? Do they ride it out? Do they let some of the veterans go to create cap space? Do they move on from some of the injury-prone veterans that have started to hold them back as they try to compete week in and week out? Kevin says try to get something out of Purdy and trade him. The Niners have alluded to the ability that they can find a quarterback that fits the system. But to Mike's point and Mike's rebuttal, he is the perfect marriage for the system. Right. Isn't this the blueprint, the bolded letters of what everybody really wants in the NFL? Everybody wants a Patrick Mahomes, but the next best thing is somebody who's in a perfect marriage with the system. Some could argue that is Brock Purdy.
And did you get what I was trying to say about Goff too? I feel like if you give your quarterback the confidence he needs, I feel like that's all you need sometimes. I even go to Baker Mayfield. We said the same stuff in Cleveland about Baker. He needs an offensive line. He needs this. Everything needs to be perfect around him. Well, it turns out all the guy needed was a vote of confidence in order to be a good quarterback.
He needed a perfect marriage with the coaching staff and the team around him, yeah.
But at the same time, did he? Because he went to Tampa Bay, and I understand Tampa Bay's no joke, okay? But he goes to Tampa Bay, and he's the guy. So I think there's something to be said about buying into your quarterback and having him be in a healthy environment. I don't know how healthy the environment is for Brock Purdy right now because there are people questioning, number one, if he's elite, and number two, having people always saying, you're a system guy and this and that. I think if the Niners were to pay him, you would definitely see better play out of him. Now, we could sit here and argue if he's going to go out and win you a game. I mean, the good point that Kev did bring up, I don't think he's a Josh Allen. I don't think he's a Patrick Mahomes, but those don't grow on trees. And I know I'm nonetheless the one who's always, you got to keep trying until you find one of those guys. But I guess in my old age, I'm starting to figure out sometimes you got to go with what's working. And Brock Purdy took you to a Super Bowl and the perfect marriage, the system guy.
Well, the refute to that is Brock Purdy has not shown an ability to continue to operate well in said system without the Pro Bowl caliber players all around him. It's the same system. It's the same offense. But I understand that they're pretty beaten down injury-wise, but it's not like he's succeeding in this system, hell or high water, whoever's with him or not. He needs the Christian McCaffreys of the world with him. He needs a good offensive line. He needs the 2 or 3 high-impact receivers, and he needs a good defense. So there's a level of he is a reflection of those around him. So to that, and Kevin's point, I understand. But the Niners can't necessarily sit on top of this hill banking on their own wits and their own smarts that they could find another replication of a quarterback that's going to work in this system just because they've done it once. They have tried to reach for a quarterback, a high-end quarterback, a Jordan Love-esque project quarterback, and it blew up in their face. So to that point, the fact that quarterbacks really are a 30 to 40% hit rate, and you got lucky enough in the 7th round and he kind of fell into your lap, and he embodies the team and they like him, what does it tell the team if you're going to trade Brock Purdy? Sure, from the Madden franchise building aspect of it, yeah, you might like that. But what do the guys on the team think in terms of vote of confidence that you're going to ship this guy off? The guy who has battled through elbow injuries in the postseason and has taken Mahomes down to the wire better than most in the postseason. What does it tell the guys if you're going to ship him off?
And this is already a team who is dealing with unlived up to expectations, right? This is a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. And listen, I do want to say they're technically not out of it but they're out of it. All right,
They need a whole lot of help.
They're not making the playoffs this year. So that is another layer to the point of, are you going to lose the locker room if you do get rid of Brock Purdy? Truly fascinating stuff with the Niners. If there's two guys to figure it out, I guess I trust Shanahan and Lynch to do it. But we brought up, is that clock ticking on Shanahan about a month and a half ago? It certainly is coming into fruition now with them being out of the playoff picture. That's my 2 cents.
With Shanahan?
It's the clock ticking on that whole operation because of the contracts, the injury bug. It's just not working out right now.
So what do you mean? What would they do alternatively?
No. It's not. The clock, in my opinion, is ticking on this Super Bowl window. Would you agree? I think right now,
current group of roster,
exactly, and it's going to take a little bit. Once these guys fizzle out and get older, you're going to have to ship them out. You're going to have to find a way to eat that contract, and then all of a sudden, you're not a Super Bowl caliber team. I think they got a year and a half, 2 years at best left of this roster. That's my two. That's my 2 cents.
That might even be pushing it. They have a lot of older players who have not shown an ability to stick around for an 18-game season. Sometimes you get lucky. But coming after a big playoff run like last year, they got beaten up. McCaffrey, you don't even know what his future looks like. They got a lot of questions. And the Niners, I don't envy that position, especially with the fact that Devondre Campbell stormed off the field in the third quarter.
Very odd, Colin.
And I give him credit for cutting him, but you had no choice. But the fact that he did do that is very telling of, I guess, the vote of confidence that they gave Devondre Campbell. And whether that's a player thing or a team thing is a whole different conversation. But the Niners have some issues. And in terms of, I guess, future outlook, I wouldn't put them up near the top. And I wouldn't, despite even having a young quarterback that they like. So a lot of questions in what's going on with them. And we'd like to shift to the phone lines, 888-760-3776. What should the Niners do? Do they keep Purdy around? Do they change it up? Do they blow up the operation? Where does their future lie? We stay in Jupiter. We go to Pete in Jupiter joining us now on Russo and Rizzo. Pete, what's on your mind?
Petey.
What's up, fellas? Diehard Niners fan since I was 10 years old. I've been through an insane amount of quarterbacks since Steve Young, and you absolutely have to pay Brock Purdy, right? I've been through hell and back, and Brock Purdy wasn't the one that blew 3 10-point leads this season. He wasn't the one with all the drops, not only last night, but if you look at Ayuk, his first 4 or 5 games that he played, he had multiple drops in each game. So we're moments away from having a winning record and being in playoff position, right? And Brock Purdy, once again, put us in that situation. And if you look at his resume, 3-year starter, NFC Championship, Super Bowl, and putting this team in the playoff hunt.
Now, if he goes in...
I think a lot of fans have... Sorry, go ahead.
No, please, finish your point.
No, I was just saying I've been through those situations where we've had the high-end picks, the Trey Lances of the world that have done nothing. So I think when you find someone, you're not going to find the Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jacksons everywhere, but when you have somebody that's a proven winner, you got to stick with them.
I agree with the point, but if he walks into John Lynch's office and requests in the realm of $55-60 million a year, a market-setting deal like a lot of his teammates have got, you're in favor of John Lynch kind of balking at that and paying him?
The market's, I don't think he's going to get the back money, right? But I think if you can get Purdy for 50, I think that's worth it, just where the market's going to be. And frankly, every year the market's going up 5 or 10, right? So in 5 years, we're going to laugh at the $50 million because the next guy's going to be making 80 or 85.
Partner, what do you chalk this year up to? Unlucky, injuries? Is it just one of those lost years that we see sometimes in the NFL for the Niners?
Look, everyone gets hurt. No, I do agree our studs were hurt. But I think part of it is just there's a new coordinator on defense who had some scheming issues that resulted in those blown games, right? 2 of which were divisional games for us against the Seahawks and the Rams. So I think a lot of it is, frankly, also multiple years playing deep into the postseason takes a toll on the body and results in injuries. And I think it's just, frankly, the rent was due with the Niners this year. I sort of expected it, but I think it's time to get rid of a lot of the fat contracts, like you guys are saying, and get rid of the Debos of the world that are out of shape and aren't as effective as sort of they were used to be.
Good call, Pete. Appreciate you chiming in. Another one is Arizona, too. So that's major divisional games that they have had a lead in that they kind of let slip away. Arizona, they were, I believe, 23-10 in that one in the second half. So another ugly one there. The Niners, they've blown leads, and you can chalk it up some to the offense, some to the defense. They've been more inconsistent, less kind of formidable comparatively to a year past, despite having a relatively similar roster. We continue on the program. The action is here at the Palm Beach Zoo for the Zoo Lights, which is coming up tonight, the Tree Light Show. We saw all the animals, our pal Matt, or John, I should say.
Yeah, Johnny.
Walked us through. We looked at the Bears. We looked at the Tigers. But I'll tell you one thing. Next Wednesday, the real action's over at the Boca Raton Bowl.
Yes, folks, December 18th, 5:30, FAU Stadium. Get your tickets now by going to BocaRatonBowl.com/tickets. That is BocaRatonBowl.com/tickets. We got James Madison in Western Kentucky doing battle in beautiful Boca Raton, as I mentioned, at FAU Stadium. Get your tickets. Bring the family. It's going to be a great time. Colin and I are going to be hosting a show 2 to 5, but also hosting Fan Fest. There's plenty to do at beautiful FAU Stadium. Come see Colin and I at Fan Fest, folks. Get your tickets now. BocaRatonBowl.com/tickets. That's BocaRatonBowl.com/tickets.
Niners have a lot of questions. Travis Hunter won the Biletnikoff Award last night for the nation's top wide receiver. I think that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. In terms of somebody who is undeserving of that specific award. We get into that. We get into a lot more next on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Finished with holiday decorations and need affordable gifts for everyone? Advanced Discount South Florida Fair tickets are filled with fun and make great gifts.
South Florida Fair discount tickets are on sale now at Publix and online at southfloridafair.com. Fair opens January 17th in West Palm Beach.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
You've got so many chances to win big on Hard Rock Bet. Even a small bet can bring in that serious cash. All you need is $1 and a dream.
Unbelievable. They've hit the parlay.
Let's go! Big payouts for every kind of player.
Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us.
Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike. Tomorrow, your hometown NAIA national champions, the Kaiser Seahawks, march towards their third consecutive title game. We go live to West Palm Beach at 12:30. West Palm, we're warming up your chilly December live on ESPN 106.3.
It's wintertime, which means you need to get ahead of all the bowl game action and plan out your weekends. It's time to make Twin Peaks your headquarters to watch all your favorite teams, your favorite games, the bowl games, and the NFL playoffs. Whether your teams win or lose, you still wind up a winner with eats, drinks, scenic views, and Twin Peaks 29-degree ice-cold beers. Enjoy some made-from-scratch favorites like the mozzarella bites, their famous burgers, their unbelievable wings, while enjoying all the action. You already know I love the Billionaire Bacon. Get you some. Can't make it for all the games? That's fine. Come for the man-size $5 happy hour drafts and enjoy select appetizers as well. And you don't want to just watch football. Twin Peaks has you covered for all the fights. The official UFC fight headquarters. Never pay a cover to watch any UFC, MMA, or boxing ever. Fight headquarters, Twin Peaks. Now you know. Twin Peaks, the ultimate guy sports lodge. Eats, drinks, scenic views, 29-degree beer, made from scratch favorites, and your UFC fight headquarters is Twin Peaks.
ESPN 106.3 is presented by Rubenstein Law. 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Car accident, truck accident, Uber or Lyft accident, or a slip and fall. Call Rubenstein Law. Call 1-800-FL-LEGAL and visit one of our offices throughout Florida.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
it not to give and stop fearing the consequence. Drinking every night.
Rolling on here live from the Palm Beach Zoo, where the Zoo Lights are, I guess, making a debut tonight with the Zoo Light show coming on. First show is going to be at 5:40, last one at 8:40 over here at the Palm Beach Zoo. See the animals, see the lights, get into a festive mood. No better place to do that than here. Mike and I are here from 4 to 6 on Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. That's Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo here, with Damian Perez helping us out back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Having a good time here. Saw a bunch of animals. We saw, you know, one thing about zoos is sometimes you get very unlucky because some of these animals are basically, half asleep the entirety that you're there, because either if you don't get them in the first thing in the morning or you don't get them at night when they're eating, sometimes they don't give you the time of day. Mike and I walked through this right when we set up midday, and we were lucky enough to see all these animals up and moving. The tiger was moving. The bears were moving. The otters were flying around. The alligator even came up to say hello to us. All these animals were feisty and moving today, and we got to see a lot.
Yeah, we saw both bears. There were brother bears, Lewis and Clark. We saw the tiger Kadara, 15-year-old. Old for an old guy. Well, 15-year-old tiger Kadara was awesome. And then I saw my eagle. I told you I love the eagles. I love the bald eagles, and it was a girl, and she actually got hit by like a truck, and they rescued her, and her wings messed up a little bit too. So they got everything you'd want down here if you're looking to find some awesome zoo animals, man. And our guy, I'll tell you what, our tour director John was next level.
Yeah,
too.
John really helped us out.
Level.
Big thanks to him over at the Palm Beach Zoo. Mike Terrell, a curator for animal services and experiences, will be joining us next segment. We'll talk about a little bit about what the zoo really has to offer.
Quickly, how about that gator? How big was that gator?
Oh, big gator. And they also have an albino crocodile, which, talk about something that you don't really see a lot. It seems to be a fan favorite. Marty, the albino, I don't know if the albino was the right word, but albino crocodile, very cool. Very awesome zoo. They got a little bit of everything. We didn't even get to see every exhibit. But from what we did see, all these animals were up, moving, and active. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Zoo Lights tonight. But in the meantime, big NFL weekend ahead of us, Week 15, with a lot of pristine matchups that I'm going to get really into. You're going to watch these games anyway. You're into the second half of the football season. Now is the time to really get started on Hard Rock Bet. Even if you're not a big-time bettor and you like betting in small increments, put together a parlay up to 20. In Week 6, a South Florida bettor put a $1 on a first touchdown scorer parlay. 5 different players to score the first touchdown of their respective games. $1 parlay. Won $40,000 with it on Hard Rock Bet. Try it today, so can you. The NBA is in full swing right now. Of course, with the holiday season, a lot of big-time matchups. The Emirates Cup, the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament. For those who get into it, you can get involved with that. A big college basketball Saturday coming up tomorrow. Army-Navy, college football playoff. You're going to be watching these games anyway. You might as well sprinkle a little action on it with Hard Rock Bet. Try it today. Go download it on the Google Play or the Apple App Store. Go to hardrock.bet to get started today. Try it now. Get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not hit. That first bet can be a parlay. It can be a prop. Can be the over. Whatever you like to bet in a game you choose. You either win your first bet or get the same amount you bet back. Bet as a bonus bet. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. The wager. Terms, conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Well, the College Football Awards, not the big one, but the awards were yesterday, where they give out the nation's top defensive back, and they give out the nation's top receiver and the quarterback. And they have 1,000 different awards, but there's big ones that matter. The Jim Thorpe Award is one of them. The Bednarik Award, where the top defensive player is out. And, of course, the Biletnikoff, the nation's top receiver, is one of them. And I only want to bring up one, and it's the Biletnikoff Award and going to Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, who is, of course, a very, very above-average good receiver, a great receiver, if even, who would be an NFL player regardless if he played both ways or not, but the best receiver in the country.
Yeah.
It's our guy from San Jose State,
Nick Nash. It's our
who
guy.
Won a triple crown. Led the nation in receptions, led the nation in touchdowns, led the nation in receiving yards. How does somebody like that, despite playing in a poor conference, miss out on the award in favor of Travis Hunter?
That's why I get upset with the whole Colorado thing. And I know I say it all the time. Sounds like I'm picking on Prime and the Buffs, but I'm not. This is the Colorado effect. This is this is the monster they have created at Colorado, where they're going to sweep every award with Travis Hunter. And honestly, the Heisman's a formality. I think it's Travis Hunter, no doubt. If you want to, Mike Rizzo's bet on Hard Rock Bet today is Travis Hunter winning the Heisman. If you took one thing for face value last night, the voters love Travis Hunter. I would hammer Hunter for Heisman after last night. It's a disgrace that Nick Nash didn't win that award. And quite frankly, I don't even know if he's the top defensive player. So
I don't have a problem with the Bednarik Award as much. Top defensive player. He was somebody who got statistics on the defensive side of the ball, but on top of that was somebody who wasn't targeted a whole lot. But, yeah,
my argument, like, if you want to give him best player, fine. He's playing both ways. I completely understand that. And even if you want to give him the Heisman, fair play to you. He plays both positions, and he does it at a great level.
That's the allure of Travis Hunter.
Right. And if that's greatest player, fine. If that's Heisman Trophy winner, fine. But let's get one thing straight. He wasn't the best defender, and he wasn't the best receiver. So it's a popularity contest. If you're on Hard Rock Bet, you might as well look at those odds for Travis Hunter. That's all I'm saying for Heisman.
Yeah, I have a major problem with that. That's a joke. That's stupid. Statistically, it doesn't line up. It goes to show that a lot of these voters are just so skewed with narratives because they don't watch all these games. They don't necessarily do it by statistics. Now, I understand there are some people that were arguing there was a tight end at an FCS school or something Bowling Green. Who had who had a major amount of sacks.
Mid-American Conference, Kyle.
Harold Fennell, I want to say his name was. And he didn't win the best tight end over in favor of Tyler Warren, who's at Penn State. Tyler Warren does everything for Penn State. He's a major component of why that team is in the playoff. That guy, to me, and I didn't watch the kid from Bowling Green that much, fair enough. But that Tyler Warren guy, to me, see where he's going to be drafted, number one. And number two, he's a major contributor and basically the only major consistent offensive player on Penn State. So I saw some people complaining about that. But Travis Hunter, by no means, in no stretch, in any world, deserved that Biletnikoff Award. There was somebody else in his conference that probably deserved it more than him, and T-Mac, Ted McMillan over at Arizona.
Correct.
So the fact that Travis Hunter is getting that, despite that ugly last game, which all of you voters should have seen in that Oklahoma State game where they killed him and he got like 3 touchdowns receiving to inflate his statistics a little bit. The fact that they didn't see that and consider it into their voting is pretty glaring to me. I have a problem with that. I still think he should win the Heisman. I still think he's deserving. But to Mike's point, it's because of the allure of both ways. He's great on both ways. He's not the greatest probably on either way. He's better defender than he is a receiver, and I don't know if there's a defensive player in college football that lit the world on fire that is probably worthy off the top of my head you could give that Bednarik Award to. But the point is, he had no business winning both at the top end on each end.
The Colorado backers, rather, the people that are defending this, Colin, are going, well, if he was full-time at the wide receiver position, it would have been different for his numbers. If he was full-time on the defensive position, it'd be different for his numbers.
Well, he was full-time. He plays every snap.
That's what I nonetheless saw on social media and was reading on ESPN.com, is that if he would commit somewhere full-time, it wouldn't even be a question. But I especially Nick Nash, a fifth year, damn near might be a 6th year, Colin. I know he's definitely a 5th year. He might even had a COVID year, but I thought he deserved it more than Travis Hunter. But listen, if we could take one thing for face value, the voters love Travis Hunter. They love Colorado, and this kid is going to be the first non-quarterback, in my opinion, selected off the board in the 2025 NFL Draft come April.
Maybe. It might be the first non-quarterback, 3, 4 overall, whatever it may be. Nonetheless, we got to continue on here from the Palm Beach Zoo. We got a packed program. Had no Fat Jack today, so our punchline picks will not be vetted by the man himself, unfortunately. But we're 1-0 this week with the Rams. Thank God.
Yeah, we are. We took that game, and we were sitting at Hurricane Bar and Grill last night going, who are we taking? What are we going to take here? And what an ugly game. I was worried. Tie game, third quarter.
I thought we were in a lot of trouble after that. After they got down 3-0 and they had 5 straight drives basically with no first downs, I thought we were in a lot of trouble.
That game was awful. That was one of the worst football games I watched all year, guys. At all levels, high school, college, and NFL.
We've been bashing the Niners. We haven't given the Rams credit. Number one, I give the Rams defense
credit
for bouncing back after on the road in that pouring rain. That defense really showed up, and they have a lot of young players on that team. Pesky, inconsistent, but pesky nonetheless.
And I think there's something about winning ugly. You don't play your best game. You're playing let's call it for what it is, too. The Niners, in my opinion, are still a pretty good team. You're playing an in-division rival. The two coaches know each other very well in Shanahan and McVay. It's a game where they know what you're doing, and maybe that's why it was so ugly. It's a game where the coach knows what the other coach is doing, and the other coach knows what the other coach is doing. So a big fair play to McVay and the Rams, for winning the way they did, winning in an ugly, rainy match last night.
Yeah, ugly and rainy, field goal galore. and I believe it was the interception that led to that final drive that the Rams had, that terrible Brock Purdy interception down the sideline. The Rams go down on the other end, and I give them credit because they could have ran the ball out with 5 minutes to go and just played the field position game, given the ball back without any timeouts and a minute and a half, 2 minutes to go.
They wanted the first down.
But instead, they utilized the passing game. They had a couple big-time hits, and Colby Parkinson being one of them on that seam route to get that final first down that really sealed the deal, gave them that first. And I know they had a chance at the end of the game, but the point is they were super, super aggressive in their play calling. I give McVay a whole lot of credit. And Stafford, too, because that's what they do. You put them in a late-game situation. That is somebody I'd favor, is Matthew Stafford and McVay, to ultimately make the right decision. I know Stafford is not what he was. He's a shell of himself in a lot of ways, but he's still, when push comes to shove, an elite Hall of Fame quarterback that I would take above a whole bunch of other quarterbacks in a big spot to win me a game. Credit to him. Credit to the Los Angeles Rams for putting on quite a show there.
Right.
We got a whole lot to do. We'll take a quick break, and on the flip side of things, hopefully we'll get a hold of Mike Terrell, the curator of animal experiences here over at the Palm Beach Zoo, who has their Zoo Light activities going on tonight. You got all the activations coming up around us.
Yep.
You got cotton candy. I see a s'mores station giving everybody a wave. They got an icy machine. Icy machines are huge.
Yeah, they
are.
Dude,
nothing
that's-
screams amusement
yeah.
park like Dippin' Dots and ices.
I'm a blue icy guy. I know that's usually not the correct icy to go with.
Is that not?
Everyone
I always
tells
thought
me
blue
it's
was the
red.
right one.
Everyone tells me it's
I was
red
a blue
icy.
guy growing up as
Yeah.
well. They got a DJ set up. This is going to be quite a party here over at the Palm Beach Zoo. So come on out and get into a holiday festive spirit and come see some animals. I wonder what the animals think during an event like this.
Right.
What's going on out there?
Right.
What's going on out there? We'll take a quick break,
Yes.
and on the flip side of things, we'll get into some of what we've seen from the zoo. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Make poker playing hours work for you at Harrah's Pompano Beach Casino's No Limit Hold'em. $1 million break the bank. Play at any qualifying table to garner 150 hours and qualify for January 29th Break the Bank tournament. Finish at #1 for your shot to win $1 million. Play poker at Harrah's Pompano Beach Casino. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Powerline Road, Pompano Beach at the Pomp. Must be 18 or older for poker and simulcast. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Lease the new 2024 Range Rover Evoque 250S today at Land Rover Palm Beach for only $499 per month with a 42-month lease and only $47.50 down, plus fees and first month's payment. Head over to Land Rover Palm Beach today, located on Okeechobee Boulevard just past the Turnpike, or visit LandRoverPalmBeach.com to set up a test drive of the new 2024 Range Rover Evoque 250S. Land Rover Palm Beach, above and beyond.
Hey golf fans, Colin Russo here. Looking to improve your game? Flagstick Golf Performance, the ultimate indoor golf experience, is now open in Boynton Beach. With 3 indoor simulators and a state-of-the-art putting studio, Flagstick helps players at all levels up their game. Get lessons from experts, try the latest clubs, or just come up for a round in the simulators. You can track your stats and see real improvement. Flagstick is where serious golfers and beginners find their edge. Bring your friends or family and enjoy golf like never before. Visit flagstickgolfperformance.com to book your session.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play, like Bear Dynasty interior paint, their most durable one-coat hide paint ever. From a team color statement wall to a fan cave, complete with a mural honoring Nick Saban's 17-year dynasty.
Hey, I like that idea.
Nothing beats Bear Dynasty Interior Paint. It's everything you need all in one can.
Defend your game time with Bear and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Valid only when tinted to colors from the Bear Dynasty and Marquee Interior One Coat Hide Color Collection.
Anajar and Levine. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 1063.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station. Time now for a PNC Pause. PNC Bank is committed to making a difference in the lives of the customers they serve in the South Florida community. See how at pnc.com. You're listening to ESPN 1063.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast, professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Who's ready to celebrate with the ESPN West Palm Street team this Sunday, December 15th from 11 to 1 as we celebrate 40 incredible years of E.R. Bradley's in downtown West Palm Beach. Live music, guest bartenders at the Tiki Bar, and vintage food prices, and of course, plenty of cocktails brought to you by Milagro Tequila, Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, and Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey. The party goes all day. Must be 21 or older to participate, and please drink responsibly.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-880-6363. That's 1-800-880-6363. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-880-6363. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
A beautiful Friday evening here at the Palm Beach Zoo for the Zoo Light showing, which is coming on tonight. First show, come in. People are going to be in. Start trickling in here around 5:30. First show at 5:40. Last show at 8:40. Having a great time at the Palm Beach Zoo, seeing all the animals, having a good time, getting into a festive spirit. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063. Second hour of which on the 13th of December, a Friday edition, a cool winter night in Florida terms, which is basically 70 degrees and windy. But nonetheless, we're enjoying it. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and like to welcome in John Towie, the PR manager of the Palm Beach Zoo himself, joining us. The guy who gave us a lovely tour and basically the ultimate guy with the animals and knowing their names and where they're from and how they do it. We basically interviewed John. But, John, we appreciate you joining us now, and welcome to the program.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'll send the bill in the mail for that tour, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I'm like, is this pro bono? Is this just for the good of the program?
I'll tell you what, John is top-notch. I told him he's locked down if I ever come back to the zoo. He's walking around with me. I'll pay the rate. I'll pay the rate. So.
I'll be here.
Yeah, so, John, of course, it's holiday season. The Zoo Light show, of course, I've seen all the lights. I can't wait till everything's lit up and we're really in the mode here because I haven't seen it really in action yet. But now that we're in season, this is sort of one of the big parts of the year where you could get people into holiday spirit, which is a little different in Florida weather comparatively to other places. What can you say about sort of the Christmas lights event and getting everybody here and on a Friday night throughout the weekend, making sure everybody's in a cool holiday spirit?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, this is like the peak part of the year, I think. weather-wise. We started in kind of mid-November, and some of the evenings were still almost hot. But now that we're about halfway through this event, it really does kind of feel like the Florida winter. And yeah, Zoo Lights, this is our 6th year doing this. This is kind of our marquee event of the year. And it's a great opportunity to bring in people at night to see the zoo in a whole new light, so to speak, because we usually close at 5 p.m. every day. But really, things start to kind of come alive at night. So we're really happy to do this for our Zoo Lights community.
John, what's your favorite part about the whole thing? Is it just seeing people here during the holiday season? Is it seeing maybe a couple of the exhibits with some holiday lights on it? What's your favorite part about the whole operation?
I think it's just a great opportunity to kind of be that community hub for people to get together and enjoy the holidays this time of year. I also love to see the new additions every year. Like I said, this is our 6th year, and every year we've been adding more lights, more animation, a couple more feet on the tree each year. So I'm not involved in a lot of the logistics of getting things up and running, so it's kind of fun for me to come out here these first couple nights and say, oh, I don't remember that from last year. I don't remember this. So that's kind of always the ever involvement of Zoo Lights, and the crew that puts it together is amazing.
Now, John, I've been to a bunch of zoos, and one thing about this zoo in particular is sort of the ambiance. Of course, you've been to zoos that have their exhibits, and the animals are here, the animals are there. You can walk around as much as you want. But for somewhere like South Florida, it's almost like I'm walking through like a jungle or a rainforest. And I'm blown away at the effort to kind of create the environment that caters to the animals that you guys have exhibited here. Get into that and sort of, I guess, the brainchild behind it's perfectly sculpted in terms of an actual campus the Palm Beach Zoo is, and get into kind of how you guys have catered it to the animals but also to the experience.
Yeah, well, thank you for noticing that, first of all. And it is one of the things we hear from guests a lot. They love the animals, of course, but we are 23 acres of tropical, lush environment here in the middle of West Palm. So it's really kind of cool reflection of what South Florida is kind of supposed to look like,
right.
And it looked like a long time ago, and we keep things nice and lush and tropical on purpose. We have an amazing 5-star horticulture team, and it's their job to keep things looking as pristine as you'd like them to be. And during the summer, a lot of the pathways had that kind of nice canopy shaded feel to them, so it could be 100 degrees out, but maybe it's 80 degrees in the shade as you're kind of traversing your way around. So it's great for guests, it's great for animals. We see lots of animals use the zoo. A lot of birds, as you guys were seeing earlier, just kind of fly in and make themselves home here, and we are perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, right.
So everybody wins in a tropical environment like this.
Now, John, you went around and showed us a ton of exhibits, and I'll tell you what, folks, you got to check out all of them. Get on down to the Palm Beach Zoo. But in your opinion, what's your personal favorite that you kind of go to every day, that you find yourself going to more than maybe others? Mine would be the eagle partner, because I told you I love the bald eagle that you guys got here.
Yeah,
but
noble piece.
Yeah, what's your go-to that you got to go and see every single day?
Yeah, well, it wasn't a coincidence that I took you guys into the Florida Wetlands Loop, which for those listening, when you walk down kind of our main entryway, you come into the Fountain Plaza and you're met with a whole bunch of options, and Florida Wetlands is the first one to your right, kind of at your 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And that is my favorite. It's all Florida native animals, from the black bears, flamingos. For those who don't know, flamingos are Florida native birds. Our river otters, alligators, bears, the bald eagle. So I love Florida ecology, the environment here, so I always kind of find myself magnetized to that area. It's also where our carousel ride is and stuff like that. So it's kind of a happening part of the zoo. It's a nice way to start or end your zoo adventure here.
You know, it's interesting. A lot of people bring up the fact that, Australia is a hub for basically anything and every type of animal. Australia, for some reason, has it, or Africa, of course. Florida is like that in the scale of the United States. Florida is almost a tropical environment that caters to the animals that you don't necessarily see throughout the rest of the United States. Of course, alligators being one of them, but even snakes, everything, the bears. This is something where Florida can kind of cater to every type of animal. In terms of a habitat, is Florida kind of offer the most diversity or the most exclusive, unique type of environment for animals that are native to this area?
Yeah, I mean, Florida it's got the Florida Everglades, which is one of the wildest areas in the world. There is
the
no
Amazon
other
rainforest of the United States.
Yeah, it is. There is no other Everglades. It's the only one is here in Florida in the whole world. It's unique in that way. So it does host a bunch of animals that you will only find there. And for the rest of Florida, yeah, I mean, I can't say for sure it's got more than a state like Montana, but things are different here. Florida animals really have to adapt to that tropical environment, being close to the equator. A lot of the prey animals are smaller, like our deers here are smaller, our squirrels are a little bit smaller, so the predatory species too are also smaller, which is what I was talking to you earlier about our black bears and stuff like that. We have bears here in Florida.
Right.
A lot of people.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Neither did I.
and even if you're a Florida native, they're just they're a little bit smaller than your bears you would see in Maine and stuff like that. So I can't say for sure Florida has more or less. They're just a little bit different here.
Now, John, something I liked that you told me is that a lot of these animals are rescued, and if they weren't rescued by zoos around, the United States, around the world, that they probably wouldn't survive in nature. Just talk a little bit about how you guys are, rescuing these animals and really giving them a place to live and getting a little history for everyone who comes into the zoo.
Yeah, exactly. Each animal here, and we have hundreds of animals. They all have their own unique stories. Some of them were injured in the wild, rehabbed, and they didn't have a home because they were missing a wing or missing a paw or an eye or whatever. So kind of that second layer of, well, they need a home and they need humans to depend on them. We'll find them a home at a zoo. Or they were someone's pet that was forfeited. They didn't know that a macaw lives almost 50 years, and after 10 years, they're like, we don't want this thing anymore. We're not going to just release it into the wild. How about we bring it to the zoo? So it's a mix of that. Some of the animals that were born here, and they're just great ambassadors for their species. That's our mission, is to get people here to connect with the animals that we care for, because you can't care for something that you don't even know exists. Or like I was telling you guys about Lewis and Clark, and you guys kind of got to know them and know their story. That creates stewards for wildlife, and it's not just another black bear you've seen. That's Lewis and that's Clark.
By the way, the bear's two brothers.
Yes.
Two brothers that were brought in at the same time, and now they live together at the zoo, and it's a fantastic story.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have to be apart from each other, and this is really their home now.
Yeah, they were orphaned many years ago up in Maine. Their mother was hit by a car, which roadways are a lot of animals' number one enemy, and they were rescued together as cubs, too young to be without a mom, but too young to be re-released into the wild, and so that's where the human care kind of aspect comes in, and they were hand-raised together, and black bear brothers at 24 years old typically wouldn't be seen in the wild together. They would have gone their own ways, started their own family, but because they were raised together, we wanted to keep them together. So, and they act like brothers. For some of our zoo members and loyal zoo goers that know them well, they'll fight over the same plate of food, even though it's the exact same thing. They fight over time in the pool. They play with each other, so they are brothers to the core.
Joined now by John Toey, the PR manager of the Palm Beach Zoo, which has the Zoo Light Show coming on throughout the night. Tonight should be a whole lot of fun. A ton of activations here. Have a ton of fun. Come join us here at the Palm Beach Zoo. But when I go to a zoo, there's two different aspects of it. Of course, you could walk, you could wander. Part of the allure is you're kind of somewhere different. You see all these animals that you never see day to day. But also there's the experiences that zoos like to offer. And, of course, every zoo is a little bit different. Talk about some of the experiences that you can kind of get that's exclusive to the Palm Beach Zoo and what you guys do here.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go onto our website, you'll see a tab for animal experiences there. And depending on the season, we kind of offer different experiences seasonally. Like right now, again, I'll use our bears as an example. They're kind of going into their torpor mini hibernation season, so they're not too motivated to be part of an animal experience. But if you were a fan of the flamingos, people love the flamingos here. You're able to sign up, and you can go in and you can feed them. You can hang out with
the flamingos.
Oh yeah. So we saw our Florida flamingo flock before. We have another Chilean flamingo flock too, who love to meet new people. So you go in there into their habitat, and you get to hang out with them, feed them. You're there with a trained zoologist. You can ask them all questions and take photos and stuff like that. And you go in with our giant Aldabra tortoises and give them little scrunchy shell scratches because they love being rubbed down, and give them a little bath if they want, if it's the summer. You can go into our koala night house, hang out with our koalas, speak with our zoologist there, and what our koala, species is like here. So each one is different than the other, and it's a really cool way to add kind of a specialized, curated experience to your time here at the zoo.
In your educated opinion, who is the king of the animal kingdom? Now, is it something? Now, there's two different ways you could go at this, because I've thought about this myself. You could think about the perfect evolution at the top of the line, perfect creation in something like the alligator or the crocodile.
Sure.
Or you could go into the stereotypical king of the jungle, the lion, the tiger, something like that. Or, in my opinion, you could go nature's best athlete, the running back of the crew in the bear. So I don't know, what is your experience
Hang on,
on
can
this?
I throw another one into a gorilla?
Yeah,
A
that's another
gorilla.
one that gets
What is
thrown
that?
up
What is
there.
that top of the line? That is the perfect, don't mess with him, king of the animal kingdom.
You know what? I kind of got to take a different direction on this. I think the animals that have figured it out the most, I'm going to go back to an animal I just mentioned, the koala. They have evolved on that island over there in Australia, and they have specialized to eat one type of food, and that's it, and it's eucalyptus, and they don't have to compete with anyone else. They can sit around and eat as much eucalyptus as they want, and they've specialized just to do that, to eat, to sleep, to wake up, to eat again, to sleep. They have their lives dialed in.
Kyle, they've cornered the market.
They have.
They
really
They
cornered
know what
the
they're
market.
doing.
It makes it tricky for the guys running the books to go get some eucalyptus in bulk. But, unbelievable. The koalas, they need to get eucalyptus by the ton.
Yeah.
The amount they eat.
By the bushel.
Oh, unbelievable. But I'm so impressed with what you guys have done here at the Palm Beach Zoo. And how long have you been here, by the way, in terms of working at this specific spot?
Yeah, I started as an intern in August of 2018, and then I started full-time January that next year. So I've been here 6 years, almost exactly.
And you knew that you wanted to work with animals in this type of zoo environment? Is this something you knew from a young age? Or is this something that kind of came about late?
I went to school as an environmental science major because I wanted to save the world, of course, and the conservation side of things always inspired me. I loved being outside. But the way they kind of tracked us at school, all the science degrees were all grouped together. So I was in with pre-med and nursing, and I was taking.
You weren't a doctor.
Yeah, I was taking physics classes and anatomy, and I'm like, hold on, this is not what I was really signed up for. If I was patient and I waited till the next year, I'm sure I would have done the environmental science track. But I spoke with a couple people in the field, and they said there are the scientists who are doing conservation work. They're collecting all the data, but they need people to tell their stories about what they're doing, because usually scientists are maybe not the best marketers. So they need people to kind of tell what they're doing and raise awareness for it. And I thought, that's a great point. So I kind of pivoted to strategic communications, marketing, advertising, journalism, PR. And I figured if I'm not going to do some of the work myself, at least I can tell great stories about work that is happening. And then I found myself here at the zoo, where we have the great opportunity. I am our PR manager, that's my title, but I'm also on our coral research team, our swallowtail kite counting team. So now I'm not only just telling people about the great work we're doing, I'm out there at the break of dawn, 5 a.m. counting birds. Because
you found a loophole.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
You got
For those who don't want to do the doctor degree, they don't want to go through all that school. You just heard about the blueprint.
You got to talk
to
you got to talk to our friend John.
Yeah.
What's the favorite part of the gig, Johnny?
I'm going to go back to the conservation piece of it. I love my job as the PR manager and being here at the zoo, but I'm also part of our coral survey team. So from August to November, when the water's at its warmest and coral is at its least happy, we're down there 60 feet under the surface.
You're a diver.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And we're down there looking at the reef itself, evaluating the health, seeing what species are bleaching, what species are doing well, how far along the reef we are. Because we're up here, the northern part of the reef. The reef goes from Palm Beach County down to the Keys. And up here is where the water is staying the coolest, and the coral is actually in its best health compared to the Keys. You may have heard the mass bleaching event,
Right.
the 102-degree water. It's awful. But up here, things are staying. They're not getting as extreme, so the coral is not as unhappy. So this part of the reef up here is getting more and more important each year as the rest of the reef kind of is having a tough time. So it's my favorite part of the job because we're actually down there doing the work ourselves, and then I come back to my office and I get to write about it and talk about it on our social media and our website and stuff. So that I'm very fortunate in the fact that I get to do both. That's not always the case.
John, I give you credit for joining us. Last thing from me here before we let you go is what is the biggest misconception about zoos, the conservation efforts attached to it, and sort of what you guys do here? Everybody has their own opinion about animals in captivity.
Sure.
What is the biggest misconception in your eyes that people get wrong ultimately about the ultimate goals and what you guys do?
Yeah, there's a couple things, and if you go back 100 years or 150 years, how a zoo started, it's a whole different world now. I think people think that we just have animals on display for people to ogle at and then kind of move on, but the truth is that the conservation work we're doing is funded by the people coming in our front gate, and that's what helps feed the animals that they see every day and they care for, and those animals are there to inspire them. You guys didn't even know that they were Florida black bears. Now you do. Like, it's that type of thing where there's a level of education involved in that also develops caring for something. So I think that's a big piece of it, is that we're not just here with circus animals doing front flips for your entertainment.
Now there's a little shot at the circus life. All right,
yeah,
I understand. I agree with you.
Yeah, so they're here, and their welfare is top priority. Animal welfare goes beyond everything else here, and so the whole purpose is them to educate the public as they come in.
Yeah, John, you're doing the Lord's work. You're doing a great job here. I appreciate you giving us the time here, and best of luck the rest of the way. We look forward to enjoying the ambiance of the zoo, and we look forward to speaking again soon.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks,
you know where
John.
to find me.
Yeah, I will be finding you, partner.
You want to find
Yeah, my
John?
number
You want to
too.
get a rundown of what's going on at Palm Beach Zoo? That's John Toey, the PR manager over here at Palm Beach Zoo. They got the Zoo Light shows going on all night, tonight, all throughout the weekend. Come get a feel. Come get soaked in this great ambiance of the tropical environment with the Christmas lights that people are starting to stroll in here. Having a great time. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Holiday season at Duffy's Sports Grill means holiday features galore. Savor Duffy's limited time holiday menu with new crab stuffed mushrooms, seafood pasta, salmon Oscar, and mahi Oscar. Plus, famous holiday drinks like Jack Apple New Fashioned and a peppermint martini. Now, through New Year's Eve, score a $20 MVP bonus for every $100 in Duffy's gift cards you purchase. Duffy's, our game is always on.
PNC Bank is committed to helping the customers and the communities they serve move forward financially. To do this, they're implementing their Community Benefits Plan that focuses on affordable home lending, small business loans, and employee volunteerism, and creating other opportins to give back on a local level. They're proud to be a part of the South Florida community. See how PNC Bank can make a difference for you at pnc.com/our commitments. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Make poker playing hours work for you at Harrah's Pompano Beach Casino's No Limit Hold'em. $1 million break the bank. Play at any qualifying table to garner 150 hours and qualify for January 29th Break the Bank tournament. Finish at number one for your shot to win $1 million. Play poker at Harrah's Pompano Beach Casino. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Powerline Road, Pompano Beach at the Pomp. Must be 18 or older for poker and simulcast. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Theo here. EDS is yes. You've heard me say that over and over. So I need you to keep this website in mind too. EDSIsYes.com. For the most trusted AC specialist here in Palm Beach County, EDSIsYes.com. For 24/7 support, EDS is a trained comfort specialist. It's hard to stop a train. There are so many reasons why EDS is yes when it comes to your air conditioning and plumbing. EDSIsYes.com. That's EDSIsYes.com.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
Hey, if you've been in a car accident, truck accident, or suffered a slip and fall, my friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys are here to fight for you. I know with Anajar and Levine, they have my back no matter what. They won't charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. They're the best in the business for a reason. Why settle for just any attorney? Demand Anajar and Levine. That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Don't waste any time getting back what you deserve today. All it takes, one phone call to take back control of your life. Don't wait. Call for your free consultation today. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's important to have somebody to protect you when you most need it. Don't waste any time getting started with the top-of-the-line accident attorneys. 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's Theo Dorsey. The holidays are approaching, and there is no better gift than 2025 spring training tickets at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. Come see the St. Louis Cardinals and Miami Marlins in Jupiter. Individual game tickets are on sale, as well as season tickets, groups, mini plans, VIP experiences, and more. Get your tickets today at the ticket office or by going to RogerDeanChevroletStadium.com.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Rolling on here live from the Palm Beach Zoo. It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, Damian Perez helping us out behind the glass back at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Big thanks to John Toey, the PR manager, joining us from Palm Beach Zoo, giving us a rundown of what they really offer here now that the Christmas season is upon us and the zoo light shows are going to continue to be on. Having a whole lot of fun here. It's a beautiful ambiance. It's the ultimate type of a zoo that actually blends into the environment. It's not one of those zoos where you're walking through, a desert field, and then all of a sudden there's a black bear sitting there in a solo enclosure.
Hey.
You feel like you're actually in the jungle or something, and boom, there's the bear. Boom, there's the bird. Boom, there's the tiger. And those animals are active. They are a peppy bunch, so I give them credit for what they do here and all the great work they do. The action is there this weekend, but the action on Wednesday will actually be the Boca Bowl because that's coming up between JMU and WKU.
Yes, folks, and you got to get your tickets now by going to bocabowl.com/tickets. It is bocaratonbowl.com/tickets to get your tickets now. We're having a great time preparing things for everybody. I think it's great that we have a bowl game right in our backyard in Boca Raton. I can't wait to experience my first Boca Bowl. I know it's Colin's first Boca Bowl as well. Want to remind everybody, get your tickets now because we are going to be covering things at the Fan Zone. We're going to have a great time at the Fan Zone coming up. We got our show from 2 to 5, and then Colin and I are going to be running on over to the Fan Zone. So get your tickets now. Come see us, and come see a great game between JMU and Western Kentucky. That's coming up next Wednesday, December 18th. We'll see you there at FAU Stadium at 5:30.
Damian Perez back at the City Place Studios helping us out today on the ones and twos. Damian, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's going on? How you guys liking it over there?
Oh, it's lovely.
Well, hang on. The fake snow has started.
Yeah, I'm
now,
a little thrown off by this.
From someone who's from Northeast Ohio, I'm good on the fake snow. I don't think I need any fake snow as a snowflake came and hit me in my eye.
I'm a little thrown off by this. I didn't know what that was. I thought it was like pollen or something to begin with, but it's actually fake snow. So if you want to
listen, and people love it down here because they've never seen snow.
I hear it, and I was just a little thrown off. I just didn't know what it was. But they got fake snow here. They got the lights on. Everybody's running around in their holiday gear. Get the ambiance over at the Palm Beach Zoo. But Damian's helping us out. Damian, you got to get down here, my friend. This place is great. But let's do a little 5 and 5.
Number 1.
In one of the more bizarre things you will ever see in sports, veteran linebacker Devondre Campbell refused to go into the game in the fourth quarter of Thursday night game between the 49ers and the Rams in San Francisco. The Niners were hurt at the position and needed the veteran to go in, and Kyle Shanahan said, and quote, he said he did not want to play today. With the Niners basically eliminated from playoff contention and this recent ugly story with Campbell, where did the season go wrong for the San Francisco 49ers?
I mean, this is just cherry on top of a pretty poor season, all things considered, in terms of the expectations. Devondre Campbell's a loser. Let's call it like we see it. That's a complete loser move. He's a phony. I cannot take him seriously. He stunk in Green Bay. Not a big-time player. I know he has that all-pro, that fluke all-pro. You don't walk out like that.
No, you don't.
You don't pull a Vontae Davis and leave mid-game like that. It's just a pathetic move. The teammates, good on them for bashing him post-game and saying we don't want anything to do with this guy anymore because you quit on the team. You made a fool of yourself in the process. All you had to do was go in the game and play. And now I'd argue you're not going to play football ever again.
No, and another wrinkle, as you said, to the Niners and the mess that was this year. I blame, where did the season go wrong? I, number one, blame injuries, core players getting hurt. I blame core players who are on the payroll getting paid, not playing up to standard as well. And it is, I guess, the Super Bowl hangover, right? The Super Bowl appearance hangover. The Campbell thing is just another ugly situation for this team. And I'm with you. I don't think that cat ever plays in the league again. The season went wrong. Injuries. Kyle Shanahan, I guess, not being prepared for this team to deal with a plethora of the best players getting hurt on the team.
Number two.
Kirk Cousins is not having the season the Atlanta Falcons thought they were going to get from him when they signed him this past offseason. He has a 17 touchdowns to 15 interception ratio and has had 8 interceptions and 0 touchdowns in the last 4 games, for which they have resulted in losses. Falcons are 6-7. They were 6-3 before this losing skid and Cousins woes. Is it Penix time in Atlanta?
It's certainly a conversation.
I mean, but there's
it depends on what Atlanta wants out of the season.
Quickly, there's something to be said about letting Cousins sit a few weeks. Like, isn't my argument isn't this why you got Penix? Like, if Cousins stinks right now, fine. That doesn't mean he never has to play again.
That's not why you paid Cousins.
I totally agree. You paid Cousins to ascend your quarterback position to the next level. You paid Cousins that money to win football games late in games. Colin, 8 interceptions in 4 games and no touchdowns. And a touchdown to interception ratio of 17 to 15 is not cutting it for a team that's trying to make the playoffs. Yes, it is Penix time, at least for the foreseeable future. That's my take on that.
Yeah, I see both sides. On one end, Kirk Cousins is the guy you put all the money into and has been a very erratic quarterback basically his whole career. But when he is good, he is a good late-game quarterback that can go down the field and win you a game, a la the Philadelphia Eagles I know this is week 2, but still, Cousins has shown an ability to win games. He's on a terrible skid right now. I'm not sure if 4 or 5 games is really the threshold before you really start to cut things short. But nonetheless, it's worth the conversation. I wouldn't be surprised. But who's to say if Penix goes in there and stinks, change it up everything, then all of a sudden you look like a fool. So I'm not sure. They're on the outside looking into the playoff picture. It's sort of do or die mode. Maybe give it one more go with Cousins and see how it goes. That's just my take. Number 3.
It was award night for Travis Hunter. He collected these awards last night. AP Press College Football Player of the Year, the Walter Camp Award, which is another form of the Player of the Year award, the Chuck Bednarik Award, Top Defensive Player, and the Biletnikoff Award, which is the Best Wide Receiver. Is the Heisman already decided?
Heisman's already decided.
I agree with that. I agree.
He's not deserving of every single one of those awards, especially the Biletnikoff is the one that I have a major problem with. But in terms of Player of the Year, I have no problem giving it.
I have a problem with the top defensive player and the top wide receiver. If you want to give him the best player, fair play to you, I probably would still go with Jonty, but he plays 2 positions. I understand it. The Colorado allure is there as well. I thought it was a disgrace he got the wide receiver and the defensive award. But and yes, he will win the Heisman.
I don't have a problem with the defensive one because who else are you going to give it to? Like, I mean, other than the top-tier defensive players, not all of them were healthy and consistently available like he was. But I totally do see the point. Number 4.
Juan Soto said yesterday that the Yankees did everything in their power to sign him, but he thought the New York Mets were a better fit. Is that the ultimate gut shot for Yankee fans?
Now, I think the Yankee fans should be over this at this point. I know this happened Sunday, but 5 days later, the Yankees went and got Max Fried, and today they went and traded for Devin Williams, which I think is we haven't even gotten into it today,
right?
Especially with Kyle Tucker going to the Cubs. They missed out on Tucker. That's a bit of a shot, but ultimately, Devin Williams, I think, is a great get, despite the fact that he blew a game in Game 3 of that wild card series against the Mets. I think Devin Williams is a great get. He bolsters that pitching staff quite a bit. So they're looking onward at this point. Go get Bregman, go get another infielder, go get an outfielder, and call it an offseason.
Outside of the catastrophe that was Freddie Freeman hitting a walk-off grand slam, that bullpen was great. And you could even argue it wasn't even a bullpen arm that gave up that grand slam. It was Nestor Cortez, because apparently Booney had some alcohol before that game.
The big problem with that game with the Yankees is those guys were pretty depleted.
Right.
They needed more guys, and they're going to have Loaisiga back. They're going to have Weaver. They're going to have Devin Williams now. That's all good news for the Yankees. I think this is a great move. I think they should look onward past Juan Soto.
I think it is a gut shot personally. I still stand by what I said. Mission A was to get Juan Soto, and you failed it. But they still need a second baseman. They still need outfield help. There's still a lot to do for the Yankees.
Number 5.
Number 5.
All right, so you guys are live at the Palm Beach Zoo and Conservation Society. If you could be one animal, which one would it be?
There's no other answer to me than nature's best athlete.
You are obsessed with the bear.
The bear. It's got size, the claws, it can climb, swim, it runs at top speeds. Nobody messes with a bear. They control the forest, they're territorial. They eat everything. I think the bear is the ultimate athlete. If you're drafting for a sports team, you're drafting an animal, a bear is near the top of the line. I think I would go bear.
I told you guys my favorite animal is an eagle, specifically the bald eagle. You could call me a red-blooded American all you want. But they have an eagle here, and she's an absolute doll. I told you guys they rescued her.
She's a doll.
She's a doll. They rescued her.
Talk about an eagle.
Her right wing is injured. She cannot fly anymore. And I love going to the exhibit and seeing her. But yeah, I would definitely be eagle, top of the food chain when it comes to birds. You got talents, you eat fish all day, and you're flying. Colin, you don't want to fly? I love the concept of flying. I wish I could fly. I would be a bald eagle.
Mike Rizzo wishes he could fly. That was the 5 at 5 on Russo and Rizzo. Big thanks to Damian Perez helping us out. For those of the serious golf players who really want to improve their game, the Ultimate Indoor Golf Experience is in Boynton Beach. It just opened. Flagstick Golf Performance is available. It's a unique facility featuring 3 state-of-the-art simulators. On top of that, also a state-of-the-art putting studio. Even if you're not even interested in going to the simulators, you could have that, but also they have a tour-inspired build shop. They have lessons that you could get from PGA professionals. Andy and the team will get you right, will get you covered with great video equipment and swing equipment and trying out different clubs, different grips, different heads to make sure that your golf game performs to the top that it could possibly can. For somebody getting into golf like myself, Flagstick Golf Performance has been a crucial, learning curve that I've needed in order to kind of catch up to the people in my family who play golf consistently, and I never had. But go check out Flagstick Golf Performance. It's the optimal environment to leverage technology and also all the data insights that you provide, but also to get real hands-on experience with professionals that will help you leverage and improve your golf game. It's located in Boynton Beach. It offers memberships, daily access for all. Go check out their Instagram, Flagstick Golf Performance, or visit them in person. Find out all the info you need at flagstickgolfperformance.com. We close out the program. Look ahead at a great slate of NFL football coming up, especially in that 4 o'clock slate into that night slate. A lot of playoff implications. Give our takes, give our thoughts, give our picks. Coming up next, it's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Hey golf fans, Colin Russo here. Looking to improve your game? Flagstick Golf Performance, the ultimate indoor golf experience, is now open in Boynton Beach. With 3 indoor simulators and a state-of-the-art putting studio, Flagstick helps players at all levels up their game.
Get lessons from experts, try the latest clubs, or just come up for a round in the simulators. You could track your stats and see real improvement. Flagstick is where serious golfers and beginners find their edge. Bring your friends or family and enjoy golf like never before. Visit flagstickgolfperformance.com to book your session.
Hey Florida drivers, the holiday season is upon us. When celebrating, always plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Besides, a DUI could cost you $10,000. Not exactly the best gift you could give yourself. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Florida Atlantic women's basketball season is here. Join head coach Jennifer Sullivan and star guards Maya Perry and Jada Moore at Eleanor R. Baldwin Arena this year for big-time college basketball action. Groups of 15 or more get in free. Single game tickets just $10. The band, the cheerleaders, the fun, the action, it's all there with Florida Atlantic women's basketball. Visit FAUsports.com for more information. Florida Atlantic Owls, winning in paradise.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
It's the Good Greek Spiro. For the best move ever, go to goodgreek.com.
Good Greek moving and storage. Your superhero movers.
Huddle up this season at Hurricane Grill and Wings, where every day is game day. Enjoy our famous wings, new cocktails, and happy hour deals at the perfect spot to catch all the football action. Escape from the ordinary. Visit hurricanewings.com to find a restaurant near you.
Are you gonna be? Say that you're gonna be.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
We got DJs, we got Christmas lights, we got people having a great time enjoying the holiday ambiance. So we got fake snow in South Florida. Can't get any better than this. We're live at the Palm Beach Zoo for the Zoo Light Show, which is going on tonight. Throughout the night, ends at 8:40, so make sure you come on out to that, see some animals, see some holiday festive cheer. Everybody's running around, all the kids having a great time. It's pretty contagious. It gets me into a holiday gift-giving spirit mood. But in the meantime, for those of you who want to watch football this weekend, this Sunday from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Riverside Cafe in Vero Beach, join Bud Light, join ESPN West Palm, watch some football, and enjoy the game, enjoy some food, enjoy some good drink deals. Play games, giveaways. ESPN West Palm will be there at the Riverside Cafe in Vero Beach, 3341 Bridge Plaza Drive in Vero Beach. This Sunday, December 15th from 1 to 3 p.m. Watch some football with ESPN West Palm. We expect you there. Bud Light is the perfect spot. Go enjoy it. We'll be there at the Riverside Cafe with Bud Light. Well, we got a packed weekend ahead of the aforementioned NFL slate. It's coming up this weekend, and a lot of playoff implicating matchups. Of course, everybody's eyes are on what's going to happen in Detroit against the Bills-Detroit Lion game. And, of course, you have the Steelers-Eagles game. You have the night game being Packers-Seahawks, a game that has a lot of history, and the Packers can never get out of their own way when playing in Seattle. This can be a hell of a sports weekend, especially on the NFL side of things.
Yeah, a lot of playoff implications on the line, division implications on the line. You know, I think we have a good idea who could win that NFC West. I'm starting to think I have an idea who's going to win the NFC South as well, Colin. So, you know, and the fact of the matter is some of these teams that are going to win their division probably don't deserve a home playoff game, but that's just the nature of football. That's the nature of how things shake out. You know, you got a ton of good teams that are probably going to finish in the second place range. They're going to have to go on the road their first playoff game and try to secure a victory. So huge implications on the line coming up this weekend. Now, we don't have college, which I'm such a college football snob that I'm kind of, bent out of shape about. We do have Army and Navy. We love our troops. I understand that. We love our troops, but it's definitely NFL for me this weekend in the games that you just showcased.
Yeah, one game that I think is incredibly underrated is a 425 slate game on CBS, Colts-Broncos. Why? Because the Colts are sitting from the outside looking in on the AFC playoff picture and versus the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos is probably that seventh team in that AFC playoff picture. And get a load of this.
Broncos have the Colts at home. The Colts are sitting at 6-7. The Broncos, of course, 8-5, 2-game spread. Well, what better way than to beat them head-to-head, cut that down to 1, and the Broncos, of course, have to go on the road to take on the Los Angeles Chargers next week. Then they have, and that's on a short week on the road on Thursday Night Football, and then after that, they might have a flex game at Cincinnati against a Cincinnati team that might be playing spoiler. Then they finish off the year against the Kansas City Chiefs, who might not need the game, but they might, depending if they lose another game. So that the Broncos have a tough schedule. On the flip side of things, Indianapolis, who has 2 games back, can cut it back by 1, go to a game back of what the Denver Broncos are at in the AFC playoff picture. How do they finish the year? Home Titans, at Giants, home Jags.
And no Bronco fan thought they'd be in this position this year. Every Bronco fan that I talked to was doom and gloom. Peyton's going to fail. Bo Nix is a bum. He's a bust. How about that? About to make the playoffs in their first year.
Or about not to. They got to win this game on Sunday.
I personally think they will, with all due respect to the Colts. Can I give you another game?
Okay.
Dolphins and Texans.
Yeah, good game in the implications of the Dolphins. Another team on the outside looking in. They need help.
But also the Texans are reeling, man. They're
coming off a bye, so we'll see how they respond.
They really have not played well even before that bye week. Is C.J. Stroud going to be able to get back to the form or some kind of form that we saw last year? They got a great defense. They got great pass rush. You know, Stephon Diggs out for the year. Nico Collins was another receiver who's been dealing with some injury. I think that's big for playoff implications yet again. And then obviously, you know, the highlight is the Bills and the Lions. You alluded to it. I mean,
the thing is that doesn't have playoff implications. Both teams are getting in, but it's a marquee matchup.
But it's a marquee matchup. I think it's a matchup that you could, you know, who's playing the best. These are 2 of the best teams in the AFC and the NFC. Who would you give the nod to in the AFC? Because I think the Bills are the best team in the AFC.
Yeah, they beat
now.
the Chiefs head-to-head.
Yeah,
I
think it's Buffalo. So I think it's the best of the AFC versus the best of the NFC in that matchup.
Yeah, for that marquee matchup, that's going to be a very entertaining game on top of that Steeler-Eagle game, which is going to be a whole lot of fun. But in terms of playoff implications, this is a win, and you have a chance, or lose, and you're dead game. For the Colts at the Broncos, I think the Colts are going to play well in that game. I anticipate that to be a really tight matchup. With the Broncos, of course, having to deal with the Chargers, the Chiefs, and then the Bengals, the last 3, versus the Colts having to deal with the Titans, the Giants, and the Jags to finish the year. The Colts have a path, and it starts with beating the Denver Broncos head-to-head and cutting into that lead that they have. Watch them play really, really tough this weekend and be a tough out. That might be my game of the weekend. On top of that, of course, the Detroit Lion game versus the Bills.
Can I give you playoff implications for the Lion and Bill game? If they lose, if the Lions lose and go to 12-2, and the Vikings beat the Bears, all of a sudden you got 2 teams at 12-2.
Well, then and the Vikings and the Lions play each other last game of the year. They will probably play in maybe that 425 slot. They don't want to know in terms of who's going to get that bye and whether they need to play hard or not.
But you know what I'm saying, though, because all of a sudden home field. You know, that game means a lot.
The bye.
The bye and home field, that game means a lot. So, and this is where bad teams can really, I don't want to say save face on a season, Colin, but can end on a good note. Like, the Bears have been disastrous. There's nothing this year, maybe outside of Caleb Williams for throwing for 5 touchdowns in each game, to right that ship. But if the Bears do beat the Vikings on the road, that's a great divisional game that you can write home about and bring in some momentum for the new head coach that they're going to be getting come in the offseason.
I mean, yeah, I see that totally. The Vikings are going to need to beat the Lions head-to-head and avoid any sort of divisional losses for tiebreaker purposes. But that's an implicating game based on who's going to get that first-round bye. And on the Bills side of things, they're on the outside looking in because the Chiefs have a 2-game lead after that Rams loss. Go ahead.
You want to know what I'm laughing at?
What's that?
We took the Ravens. I forgot we took the Ravens minus 16.5.
Well, the Giants, I saw a report yesterday that the Giants in practice in terrible weather went 0 for 16 in the red zone against their defense in practice. So at the very least, we know that defense is not showing up.
I think that's the high. Now, we took a high spread with the Lions.
Detroit, it was 14.
And they covered. I think this is the highest spread I might have taken in the history of sports gambling.
If we had Fat Jack on Fat Jack said 14-plus point spreads usually hit because it's just so lopsided in one direction that it honestly has a chance to hit. We're taking Baltimore.
Yeah,
so
it's not up for discussion. I'm looking at these games and go, God, 16.5, who the hell would take that? Oh, wait, we did.
Unbelievable.
We did.
Now another thing is Pittsburgh. How about
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's end-of-season schedule? They're at the Eagles, of course, this weekend. Then they follow it up at the Ravens on a Saturday game preceding the Christmas slate. Then they play the Chiefs on Christmas in Pittsburgh, and then they finish it off against the Bengals, who are never going to be an easy out in a divisional matchup like that. So this is going to be a very, very fascinating end of the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've given themselves quite a bit of cushion in comparison to the Ravens, but they still have a head-to-head versus them, and the Ravens are still going to be clawing for that division, that home game. So it's going to be a very tricky implicating game on the home field side of things versus the Eagles this weekend.
And that Bengal offense could score. I mean,
that's the last game of the year.
Yeah,
so.
that Bengal offense could score, and Jamar Chase wants a contract. T. Higgins wants a contract. Those guys are going to be playing their tails off to make that cash in the offseason.
Yeah, and we'll see whether that's with the Bengals or not. Go ahead.
How about Bucks and Chargers? Bucks and Chargers. I mean, Tampa Bay, that NFC South is fascinating.
Well, because the Falcons have the Raiders. They need to get back in a big way on the road.
Who wants that division? That's what I'm calling that division. Who wants that division? Because it was Atlanta's, and then they lost 4 games in a row, and Cousins has played worse than any quarterback I've ever seen, possibly. And then the Chargers are, as you said, similar to the Broncos, they're gambling a little bit for these wild card spots or these playoff spots.
They finished with the Patriots and the Raiders, though. So in terms of a good position, they're in better position comparatively to someone like Denver. So that's what I'll say.
You don't want to stub your toe. You still want to stay sharp, and you don't want to stub your toe. And Baker and Tampa Bay, we saw last Sunday, they're playing some pretty good football right now. So
yeah, they played ugly a bit last week, but against the Giants, they were firing on all cylinders. It's an erratic team. You don't know what type of Buccaneer team you're going to get week by week. But
they've won 3 games in a row, and I know it's been bad teams.
But it's been
Vegas.
It's erratic, and that Vegas game was very erratic. They've been like that all year long, injuries or not. The Buccaneers, you don't necessarily know what Buccaneer team is going to show up.
To Colin's point, 5 games in a row they lost at one point. So Baltimore, Atlanta, Kansas City, San Francisco, all L's. And then who would have thunk all you needed was the Giants, the Panthers, and the Raiders to right the ship.
And if even the ship is they did right it, it remains to be seen against an actual quality opponent in the Los Angeles Chargers this weekend. 4 good games in that late window, or 3 really, in that Steelers, Bills, Lions, and the Colts, Broncos. You're going to have a packed 4 o'clock slate. The 1 o'clock game absolutely stinks.
What? You wait a minute.
Hold on. No, I'm not listening to this.
You didn't want to do Jets and Jags?
No, it's going to stink.
Hang on. Is the Silver Foxes? He got 9.
We're not talking about the Jags. Leave the Jags out of this.
Do they have 9 lives?
We're not doing the Jags.
Does that Silver Fox have 9 lives there in Jacksonville?
I have no idea. He's going to be gone at the end of the year. Nonetheless, Steelers-Eagles, who do you think is going to take that one?
I got to go with the Eagles. They're the home team. I question Pittsburgh's offense on the road. Now, I know you're going to throw the Commander game at me. I completely understand it. I just think top to bottom, defense, offense, maybe not special teams.
No Pickens.
Defense and offense, I give the edge to Philadelphia. Special teams, I think Boswell's one of the best kickers, if not maybe behind Kamani Fairbairn for the Texans in the NFL. But I just think top to bottom, the Eagles. But did you see the situation with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts? That's a little maybe overblown.
Leave it to a wide receiver to complain on a team that's second in the NFC, and he's playing well on top of that, who has a prolific offense and a great defense. Leave it to a wide receiver to start complaining.
Yeah, but maybe there is something there. But Hurts has been playing great football. You look at his stats the last 9 games. He really is having the Brock Purdy-ish season that Purdy had last year with that San Francisco offense, but Hurts doing it with the Eagles.
Close game favors the Steelers.
Why, because of defense?
No, because of Sirianni. And so close game, this favors the Steelers. And I understand Tomlin's not the best in-game make-a-decision type coach when the clock is dwindling down, but he's better than what Nick Sirianni has to offer. But it's been a fun one on Russo and Rizzo. That was Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo here. Big thanks to Damian Perez helping us out back on the 1s and 2s in the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Big thanks to the Palm Beach Zoo for having us out. And, of course, John Towie the PR manager of the zoo, for bringing us around, giving us a feel. Come check it out. The zoo lights are on. The holiday ambiance is upon us. We send you off into the weekend. You can hear Mike on tomorrow with Saturday Tailgate. You can hear me on Sunday Huddle on Sunday morning. Packed weekend ahead, packed weekend of sports. We'll be back at it on Monday, 4 to 6 p.m. It's been Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
ESPN 106.3 is presented by Rubenstein Law. 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Car accident, truck accident, Uber or Lyft accident, or a slip and fall. Call Rubenstein Law.